Again, another great trading week this week with the members from the daily market breakdown videos. Let's get right into this week's Forex Forecast. Starting the forecast off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 2,024 long positions, and they also added 900 short positions on the US dollar COT report. Now, looking at a weekly chart, we will do a top-down approach. Now, looking at this weekly chart here, you can see we clearly have profit margin to the upside. I personally think we have seen no evidence of turning around the dollar, and I personally think will continue up to 110. I'm not in the market of predicting the markets. I mean, I guess we all are all trying to predict the markets, but I like to see evidence that price is turning around before I even consider shorting. So what I'm trying to say is I don't want to just say, hey, I think we're just going to fall because we're overextended. I want to look at the evidence, and so far the evidence is we haven't had any evidence that we are turning around. Now, if you look at a daily chart here, something significant has taken place. You can see we clearly have had a down day here in the DXY with a red day as this supply zone from back here that was created, I think, back in November of 2022. This supply zone is now come in control. And it's a decent supply zone as well. Not really a supply zone that I expect to see price hold. Now, yes, we have seen the reaction off of it, and I think we could go down pretty low, but I don't think that this is going to be the supply zone that pushes price all the way back down to the lows. Because like I said, I've seen no evidence that price is really turning around. That's actually more clear here on the 4-hour chart. On this 4-hour chart, this is a picture-perfect upward trend here. I was talking to the Diamond members this week in the Daily Market Breakdown video saying we could react off this demand, but ultimately the better demand was down here, and we actually are reacting off that demand right now. And not only that, this demand is well within the trend line, the upper trend line as well. That's why, in my opinion, we are reacting off of this demand. So my opinion is what we are seeing is just a pullback. Yes, we could get a deeper pullback, but until we get this, upper trend line removed, I don't really see us pulling back. And now that we have proven that this is demand on the 4-hour chart, if we do pull back like this and break this demand and the trend line, that'll be a very significant break, and we could actually at that point say, hey, maybe we are actually pulling back. But in the meantime, as of me recording this video, I am seeing no evidence of the dollar starting to turn around. Yes, we did start to see it here, but demand came in control, and we still have the overall trend on the 4-hour chart. So in my opinion, as of now, it is just a pullback. And a couple weeks ago, I did take a poll here on YouTube asking you guys what you guys thought of the DXY, if you thought or the US dollar, if you thought you were bullish or bearish. And obviously, I take pride in my videos, and I'm happy to see you guys said you guys were bullish. Me too. So obviously, you guys are paying attention to trend. And, there was no reason to be bearish, 100% reason to be bullish, and we still are as long as we have this upper trend here on the 4-hour chart. On to the forecast for the Euro-US dollar. The past week, the banks added 4,092 longs, and they also added 7,674 shorts. Now, no trades in the daily market breakdown for the Euro this week for the members, but we did actually get a little day trade in the EURUSD here as the Euro was falling. So as the Euro was falling, we were shorting the Euro pairs, and we got a nice trade, day trade off the Euro Yen there, as you can see. Now looking at the Euro here on the daily chart, we pushed into this daily demand, almost broke it, but as you can see, I think the reason we pulled back lower is because the zone was tested all the way back here, and if you look, we actually peaked below this low here to test the zone even more, and now, like I said, we are seeing a bullish move to the upside. But remember, it's very important to look at the bigger perspective, right? Yeah, we've seen the bullish the bullish move, but the overall 4-hour trend is still down, obviously just the opposite of the DXY. So that's why I think we're going to continue to see the down move. Now, as far as trading it, how do we actually go about trading the Euro now? Well, we've clearly lost momentum here on this 1-hour chart, at least on that little sequence of trading, at least right here. We have clearly lost momentum, which means that on a 5-minute chart or a 15-minute chart, this is most likely looking like a downward trend or momentum, which is an indication that we could be continuing to go down. So I think looking for day trading shorts is fine. As soon as we hit this 1-hour demand, though, at 1.053, if you do get in shorts, up here, I think looking to take in some profits at this level might be a good idea. Although if we do push down, I think we could see a move off this demand zone. It could actually be good to look for maybe potential long trades off this demand zone as well on day trading timeframes for a quick little scalp. So I think we could react off this demand. I don't really think that this is going to be the demand that, really pushes price up. If it does, I'm wrong and it's all good, and then maybe the whole market's going to change. But with the 4-hour trend being down, the daily trends essentially being down, we have to expect for this zone to be broken, but we could expect to see a small move off the zone, something like this. That's why it might be best to lock in some profits as we contact this 1-hour demand. So that's what I'd be looking for here on the euro. And obviously, once we do break this 1-hour demand, if we break the zone like that, and if we have 1-hour supply here, we could be looking to short that 1-hour supply zone as well here on the euro US dollar. All right, on to gold. Some big moves in gold this week. The past week, the banks got rid of 2,156 longs, and they added 17,192 shorts. Could be a reason we are seeing the move down. That's why the COT Report is a good little tool. But anyways, onto the weekly chart here. You guys know me. I've been waiting for this weekly man to be hit from all the way back here, very, very patiently at 1870. We actually are dipping below 1850 right now, so we are almost testing this zone about halfway through. Now, we could break through the zone easily. It's kind of like a level on top of level here. Now, I think anywhere in this general area is a good place to be looking for those long trades. We don't want to just be hopping on long just yet on gold, because if you look on the daily chart here, this is a big reason I said we will be pulling back down to 1870, especially after we broke this low right here. I was calling it out that we're going to push down to 1870 even as we were pushing up to these highs here. So we have a beautiful daily downtrend here. It's like picture perfect. Everybody's going to call this a daily downtrend. Nobody on earth would call this an uptrend or anything. So it's basically an objective downtrend, and it's very, very strong. I don't really want to be trading long against this. Yes, you could get lucky and catch the move up, but the most money is to be made to the downside. What I want to be looking for now that we've contacted this weekly demand is confirmation. Now, there's really going to be two types of confirmation. Here, it's like one's aggressive and one's not. I'll show you both, no problem. The more aggressive one is going to be the removal of this 1-hour supply zone. This is actually a 1-hour supply zone trade that we caught from the daily market breakdown video with the members in the Diamond membership, as you can see on your screen right now. This is from actually last night's video. And if you want access to these daily market breakdown videos where I point out trades like this and much, much more, video lessons and more, check it out. We also have lifetime access if you don't want to have the monthly subscription. I hate paying monthly fees as well. So we have the lifetime access, and price will be going up at the end of the year. So trying to let everyone know ahead of time before I increase the price. So if you want access, like I said, to the daily market breakdown videos, video lessons, Sunday Zoom sessions, and much more, check it out. Links are in the description down below. So the confirmation, the aggressive confirmation, would be the removal of this supply zone. So if that supply zone gets removed on the 1-hour chart, we have 1-hour demand here. That would be our trade. It's aggressive, looking for it on the 1-hour chart, but it could pay off. And we actually have, it's questionable, but it's essentially an updated trend line here. So at the same time, we could get both removed. That would be fantastic. So that's like your more aggressive confirmation entry. Now, the more conservative confirmation would be on the 4-hour chart. Essentially, removing both of these 4-hour supply zones would be a great sign. Get a long down here. That'd be what I'd be looking for. And that's pretty much it. We're essentially in a free fall down on gold right now. But remember, guys, your friend is your trend, or the trend is your friend until the bend at the end. And what that means is, the bend at the end is these higher time frame zones, right? If you just look, higher time frame zone, trend was up, higher time frame zone, came in control, boom, right? Okay, we started a trend down, higher time frame zone became in control, boom, right? So we could expect to see the same thing here. Not all the time, it's not always going to work. We could explode to the downside even further, but that's not what I'm expecting here on gold, especially when you look at the macro chart time frames as well. So that is my analysis on gold. As always, guys, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to comment down below. On to the forecast for the USDJPY. The past week, the banks added 8,325 longs, and they also added 432 shorts. Top-down approach here on the weekly chart first. Weekly supply is in control on the USDN. A lot of people thinking short, 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 short. I'm personally not. We definitely need to be trading with caution around that weekly supply as we initially contacted it. But on the lower time frames, the DXY, we have seen nothing but strength, right? Obviously, that's the theme of the forecast the past couple weeks, is the US dollar strength. Daily uptrends, weekly uptrends, everything, Daily uptrends, 4-hour uptrends, everything really just trending, to the upside here on the USDN. No signs of slowing down. On the 1-hour chart, we did end up kind of slowing down a little bit here. We had a 1-hour demand zone, reacted off of it a little bit, eventually had a very big spike down. I didn't get in long at this zone. I actually was looking to get in long at this zone a little bit lower, but unfortunately didn't push all the way down to that one. We had a nice reaction off of that zone, so we did get a little bit of a hiccup here on the 1-hour chart. The best indication that we're going to continue to go up would be the removal of this supply zone and this high. And if we do that, and if we're left with new 1-hour demand right here, that could be our entry on that 1-hour zone if we get the removal of both the high and that supply zone. If you want to jump the gun and you don't want to wait, I get it, because if you look on the 4-hour chart, beautiful 4-hour uptrend, demand zones being respected, supply zones being removed. There's really no reason to be shorting this. Why would you want to be shorting this? Even if you did short it, most of the money is being made on the way up, right? Especially if you like to scale out of your positions. So in my opinion, it's longs all the way here. I really don't have any zones for me to point out on the USDN, but I mean, if you go back to the daily chart, we do have this daily zone down here at 148.362, sorry. So we could continue to see move off that zone, even if we do pull back. So if you do pull back, break through some of those zones, even on the daily chart, we have a lot of demand here that's it's going to be hard to get through, in my opinion, especially if we have this upward trend. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to monitor the DXY to really see what's going on there and what's happening with the dollar overall. On to the GBPUSD. The past week, the banks got rid of 345 longs, and they also added 17,669 short contracts. I'm not going to lie, the pound has been a very annoying and not exciting pair to be trading. Haven't really been trading it, but I have a question for you guys. What do you think is going to happen here in the pound? Do you think we're going to pull back down to this weekly demand and react to the upside? What do you think? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you look at the the lower time frames here on the pound, we've really just been slowly just trending down. Not even really trending, just slowly, just no real zones being formed that were tradable on the way down. All of a sudden, a big move up here. So now we have this demand to get through if you want to continue to look for shorts. If you are bullish the pound, this essentially is some sort of some sort of 1-hour confirmation. So if you are a day trader, this could be a 1-hour demand zone that you wait to be hit to look for longs in. So if you want to be disciplined, you don't want to just chase price and try to catch a falling knife, well, you can maybe try to catch a falling knife inside of a demand zone. It just increases your odds, in my opinion. So we could be waiting for this 1-hour zone to be hit and then look for confirmation on a lower time frame inside of that zone. If you don't know what confirmation trading is, I have plenty of free videos on my YouTube channel, and obviously I have more in-depth details in the Diamond membership as well in the video lessons. But confirmation on lower time frames would be best inside of this 1-hour demand zone, especially since the trend overall is down. This is a counter trend trade, and typically with a counter trend trade, we always want to be looking for the confirmation. It's just going to be your best bet, but who knows? That 1-hour demand could be the zone that is used to initially push price back up to this daily supply zone at 1.25. We can get a move off of that. So we're definitely going to have to monitor that 1-hour demand zone at 1.21 on the 1-hour chart to see what takes place on the GBPUSD. On to the USDCAD. The past week, the banks got rid of 17,352 longs, and they also got rid of 2,021 shorts. Now, we were looking really weak here on the USDCAD for quite a bit, and eventually we had a very, very nice push up. To me, it looks like we are pushing up to this supply at 1.363. I personally think we will break through the supply and react off the supply above the purple supply zone at 1.37. Now, it doesn't mean we won't see a small reaction off of it, but eventually I think we will see something along the lines of that on the daily chart. But in the meantime, we have tons of profit margin to the upside, so I think day trading longs here on the USDCAD are definitely going to be okay. The problem is there's no trend really, on the 4-hour chart. We're actually just going sideways with supply above that we have to get through. So it's not really looking great for longs, but however you like to trade, it's longs all the way. I'm just really, as far as a supply and demand trader, I'm a supply and demand trader forecast. I don't really see any demand zones for me to point out on the 4-hour chart. Although if we do get a pullback down to 1-hour demand here, we have a 1-hour demand zone below, but I'm really not liking it. It's such a far pullback. So what I think is going to happen is we're probably going to continue to push up And any 1 hour demand zones along the way up, we can continue to look for longs off of those 1 hour zones. And remember, if you are a member, you guys get the copy of my charts. So any zone that I put on my charts, it will be on your chart and your trading link as well. So that is the benefit of that as well. So that's what I'm looking for here on the USDCAD. But remember, as soon as we start to contact these supply zones on the daily chart, we definitely need to start to look to take profit. But if you're a day trader, I think this is a good one to potentially look for longs on those day trading timeframes. All right, on to the Aussie US dollar forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 676 longs, and they also got rid of 10,807 shorts. Not gonna lie, it's been a tricky one with weekly demand in control. We didn't really want to be shorting, but we could have based on it being tested. So definitely a little tricky using a top-down approach. But at the end of the day, we have a downward trend on the daily chart. So we definitely wanted to be favoring longs, although we haven't really been seeing the moves we really wanted. It was kind of looking for a bit like we were going to pull back up to daily supply. It's more evident here on the 1 hour chart. You can see we had a beautiful move to the upside, creating demand, removing supply zones. Now we are inside of one of these 1 hour demand zones here. I don't really like the idea of looking for longs inside of any one of these demand zones. I think you're bound to get a move off of any one of them, like a small move. I think that they're all going to break because of the daily downtrend. That is essentially why. Why, Kevin? Why do you think they're going to break? Well, because the daily chart is trending down. If the daily chart was trending up, then I'd say I think one of these is bound to hold. We should be looking for longs inside of them for sure. If the daily chart was sideways, I would say I really don't know. They might break, they might hold. It's difficult. But since we have a downtrend, I have to assume that these 1 hour zones will break, right? So with that being said, if you want to look for longs in any one of these 1 hour zones, you can, but it's got to be on day trading timeframes like a 1 minute chart or a 5 minute chart only. And you have to be looking for confirmation just so that you can because I don't think we're going to get a 4-to-1 move out of this zone, right? If you were to take the whole zone like this. That's why you need to refine your entry on a lower time frame and get a quick scalp or something like that. So I would be eyeing out these 1 hour zones right here to potentially be looking for longs on the USD or on the Aussie US dollar. Even on this 4 hour chart, we had a beautiful reaction off of 4 hour supply to the downside. So we essentially could be looking for those shorts as well. So what you could also be doing here is, let's say you're not a day trader, which is fine. I am not a day trader either. So these zones could be used for day trading longs, but what you could be waiting for if you're a swing trader is waiting for something like this. So if you remove any one of these 1 hour supply zones, 1 hour demand zones, leaving us with 1 hour supply zones, we could be looking to trade short those 1 hour supply zones to continue to trade with that overall daily downtrend. So even if we get a pullback up to this supply level up here, we could be looking for shorts as well, or just waiting for these zones to be taken out and waiting for new 1 hour supply zones to continue to look for shorts. But that means that we can enter on a whole 1 hour supply zone where, since these 1 hour zones are counter trend, we need to look for the confirmation. On to the USDCHF. Past week, the banks added 1,361 longs, and they also added 181 shorts. Now we really broke out here of the USD Swiss. Really bullish move to the upside. Definitely a little bit overextended. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, I don't like that word overextended because it implies that just because price is overextended, we're bound for a pullback. It doesn't really work like that. That's like saying, oh, it's been black 5 times in a row, it's got to be red next time. Or it's been heads 5 times in a row, it's got to be tails next time. It's kind of the same concept. So it's not really my favorite saying. But if you just look at this daily chart here, it is clear we have a pretty sharp move, and we all know with sharp moves up come sharp moves down. Not all the time, but we could expect to see pullbacks to demand zones along the way down to 0.90, or even better down to this zone at 0.898. Now, these, in my opinion, would be great dip buying opportunities. You could use these daily zones to look for longs, for swing trades, day trades, the whole bit. So that's what I'd be waiting for here if you were a swing trader, waiting for those daily zones to be hit. Now, I don't know if we're going to be pulling back down to those zones yet. There's really no evidence. The evidence I would need to suggest that we will pull back down to those daily zones would be something like this, where we remove the low here, and then we have a downward trend line. We'll have the ability to draw the trend line like that, and that will give us a 1 hour downtrend, which would be a sign that we're going to pull back down to the demand zone on the daily chart. Now, if you want to jump the gun on longs, we have 1 hour demand here at 0.912. We could be looking for confirmation longs in that zone. That's pretty much all I'm seeing here on the USD Swiss. If you want to wait for a deeper pullback, we have 4 hour demand down below at 0.90. We could see a move off of that zone. But in the meantime, I kind of think that we got the pullback and we're just going to continue to see the move up. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting based on my experience. It's kind of hard to tell. But if we do remove this supply zone on the 4 hour chart, leaving us with new 4 hour demand, we could be looking for longs inside that 4 hour demand zone as well. So really, it's all a test. Is this the end of the pullback, or are we just going to continue to pull back down to demand on the daily chart? It's really the big test here. It's all going to revolve around the DXY. That's why the DXY has got to be on the top of everybody's watch list every week, so we can monitor that to see, what's really taking place. But if we do pull back, if you look for longs and you get screwed over and you lose, that's fine, guys. There's plenty of demand, like I said, on the daily chart that we can continue to look for longs in at an even better price, especially if we continue to see strength in the DXY. Last but not least, on to crude oil. The past week, the banks added 26,763 longs, and they also added 5,134 shorts. Now, we do have some supply coming into control here on the daily chart, kind of looking like the DXY a little bit. So that's why we have seen the oil markets kind of drop the last couple days. But, we really still have trends. It's definitely, I think we're coming into a pivotal moment here in oil. We have a 1 hour downtrend. At the moment, we do have some 1 hour demand below. It's not great. I think we're going to break that if we do break below. But if you look on the 4 hour chart, we clearly have a very nice 4 hour uptrend. I'm not liking the price action here for the idea that the trend is going to continue up. I guess we're going to have to see what happens around this little rally-based rally demand zone to the upside here. So hopefully we continue to see the upward move. It's going to be difficult to tell what's going to happen. Down here, we have a little demand zone at 88.10 on the 4 hour chart. I think it's decent. We could definitely see a move off that 4 hour demand zone, especially since it's kind of a little support trap setup here I'm kind of seeing. So that's what I would have my eyes on a little dip buying opportunity on crude oil, because at the end of the day, the trends are to the upside, so we want to continue to look for longs. Although some supplies are coming in control, this could be the end of the trend, but as long as this 4 hour trend is there, it's longs all the way on oil. If you guys want to watch the full-length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.